Hello and welcome to Parent Night 2020. I'm David McGrath, Paragon's headmaster and founder, and I'm so excited to greet you and welcome you to our program tonight. Sit back and relax, get to know the teachers, and at the end of the show, we'll move over to a live webinar and answer any questions that you have left. Here we go.
Hello, parents. My name is Melissa Leip, and I am one of the math teachers at Paragon. I teach 3rd, 4th, and 6th grade math. I've been really lucky to get to know some of you already. Some of you I taught your kids last year in 3rd grade, and some of you I haven't gotten to meet yet, and I am really looking forward to the day that I actually can meet you face to face, maybe give you one of those elbow touches instead of a handshake. This year will be my 4th year teaching at Paragon, although it is my 11th year kind of in the teaching profession. During those past years, I've done all sorts of different things. I started out as a substitute teacher, which was great because I got a lot of experience with big kids, the high schoolers, the little kids. I, got to do really cool things like be a substitute teacher for a choir director. And that was for like 3 months because she was on maternity leave, and that was really fun. I'm a huge choir nerd. I, eventually moved into the world of special education. And there I was able to teach and reach students with multiple learning differences. Some were multiple grade levels below where they should have been. So that really gave me the opportunity to learn, how to reach students, how to teach students. Maybe, some of them, they just need that traditional way of being taught something. Some of them need to hear 4 different examples with a twist on how to teach it in order to learn it. So, I think that really helped me learn those different styles. Eventually, I landed for about 5 years as a 7th grade math teacher at one of the public schools here in Austin. And I will admit, I loved it. I loved being there. I loved the people that I worked with. So when I was approached by someone at Paragon to, come and possibly teach, 6th grade, which, I was comfortable with because I was teaching 7th. That's not too different. Then they said 3rd and 4th grade. And I was like, oh, pump those brakes. I don't know about that. Up until that point, I had only taught 7th grade. I'd only ever been in a middle school. Those were my people. I understand them. They understand me. Let's not all focus on the fact that my go-to people are middle school kids. I'm not really sure if that's a good thing. I am an adult, I swear. But I did what many of our Paragon kids do when they decide to come here is I shadowed. So I came and I saw some classes, and I also taught some classes, got to know some of the kids, and got to see what Paragon was all about. And I have to tell you, I was floored. There were a couple key differences about, the school that I was currently at and what I saw at Paragon that really just blew me away, and what ultimately, brought me here. And the first is that the classes were small, and I don't just mean the kids were little. I'm also little, so I'm not talking about that. The number of kids in a room where I was, on average, I had maybe 25 kids per class. Some of them were literally bursting at the seams with the max capacity of 36. 36, that's a lot. And here we have classes in the teens. I was like, what? There's only 12 kids? That's awesome. There was also just this obvious sense of community. Everyone seemed to know everyone else, and the administration knew all the kids' names. They knew who their parents were. They knew what vacation they had just come home from. Like, it was just, what is this bizarro land that I had landed in? Where I came from, administrators really only knew the kids if they were bad kids. And here they just knew everyone. Um, where I was, I taught 150 kids, just me. And here at Paragon, there were 150 kids total. So, that was mind boggling to me. And then the third, which is really huge and might have even been a deciding factor for you, is there was no star testing anywhere. There, I came and shadowed Paragon, I think it was April. And for those of you familiar, April is a pretty big time for state testing. And I just didn't see any of that. Literally, there were kids building catapults, and kids were just it just wasn't what I had expected a school to look like, especially a private school. Um, Kids were just here to learn for the sake of learning, because that's what we do. That's what we want. So as I said, of course, I came to Paragon. It has been a great decision for me. Um, you know, uh, Ultimately, this is a place I also plan to bring my own daughter when she comes of age. Although I hope she never grows up, but I know that's not how growing up works. So that's a little bit about me as a teacher, a little bit more about me as just Melissa Light, the person. As I had mentioned earlier, I'm a huge choir nerd. I love music. I'm in a women's chorus here in Austin. Last year we started a glee club at Paragon. Unfortunately, with with the shutdown, we never got to perform. So one day, it was a Hamilton mashup of like 7 different songs. We were gonna crush it. But I have a little girl named Lucy. She is my entire world. She is absolutely insane. I don't know where she gets it from. And I like to teach. I don't know. Does that sound boring? No, that's a good thing. It's a good thing that your child's teacher likes to teach. So that's just a little bit about myself. And now let's talk a little bit about the class. So one of the most common comments that I hear from parents is that they aren't sure how to help their child with their homework because the math looks different. I'll give you an example on the screen. This is called the box method, and it's a way to show students how to multiply multi-digit numbers like 48 times 26. If this looks absolutely bonkers to you, I totally get it. So my response to any parent who, isn't sure, how am I supposed to teach them if I don't know what's going on, is go ahead and teach your child whichever way you would solve the problem. There is no one right way to do math. So if it works for you, maybe it'll work for your child too. The standard algorithm will eventually be taught. So it doesn't hurt for them to see it earlier than when I officially teach it in class. It's just that my job as their teacher is to expose them to, different ways to arrive at that same answer, different ways of thinking about the numbers, so that hopefully it just becomes a little bit more intuitive, and they build some more number sense. That box method, for example, is going to be a great way for them to apply that method when they learn the distributive property, or when they're in algebra and they're looking at the FOIL method. Ultimately, when I think about math, it's kind of like learning a new language. So you can become fluent in a language by taking the time to learn the words and, interact with them, talk to other people using them. Or you can get a phrase book, like a calculator, and just punch it in. There's your answer, boom. Both ultimately have the same result, but obviously one is going to develop that understanding better. So for me, I see my job as their 3rd and 4th grade teacher. My job is to help them develop their understanding of basic operations, And those will all be those building blocks that they'll need in order to get to those higher levels of math. If you're interested in seeing what other topics I cover this year, take a look at our syllabus. I have it listed there. And if you have any additional questions for me, you can email me at melissa@paragonprep.com. You can also shoot me something on Jupiter, and that gets sent straight to my email as well. I cannot wait to continue learning with your kids and also just learning more about your kids. And I can't wait until the day I can get to see them in person. But until then, we are going to crush learning all of this material online, or really any way we need to.
Good evening. This is Linda, and this is a very unusual parent night. And I welcome you to this video, and I look forward to the day when we can actually welcome each other in person. But for now, I'm happy to participate in this brief meeting opportunity, and I'm very fortunate because Dave offered guidance, and that's good because I know I have 10 minutes, but this isn't scripted, and I don't want to keep you any longer than that. The first thing he recommended that I do is tell you a little bit about me as both a person and a professional. Well, as a person, you can see that I've been in the workplace for quite some time. So I've had a number of experiences, which have been fabulous. On a very personal level, I'm an absolute nut about books and about dogs, which you shouldn't be surprised if this presentation isn't interrupted by the barking of 3 rescued hounds before our 10 minutes are up. But for now, let's take advantage of the silence. So, book lover, art lover, dog lover, and there are probably a few other things in there too. I love to travel. I love to learn. I have a passion for the French language, and I've been taking lessons forever, but I'm absolutely dreadful at it. But it doesn't mean that I'll stop. I keep trying, maybe in another life. In this one, professionally speaking, I've worked both in classrooms, K through 12, undergraduate classrooms. I've placed student teachers in urban school settings and then supervised their performance and offered instruction in the evenings. I've also worked in corporate America, and I have a good bit of experience in educational publishing in particular, in helping curriculum development for students in grades K through 12 and even adults in the workplace. Most recently, I was working in the corporate world, and I knew that I was missing something. And that something was laughter and a little bit of joy. And so when this opportunity came up, I was really grateful to have it. I thought this was a wonderful way to kind of bring my professional life full circle back to how I started in the very beginning. And although teaching is always difficult, challenging, it's really important as well. And it does bring a lot of moments of laughter and silliness and whimsy, and all of that is much appreciated. So I am grateful to Paragon Prep for giving me this opportunity to be with your students this year. The other recommendation Dave made was talk a little bit about why you like teaching children. I actually like teaching people of all ages. There's something wonderful about sharing learning. And I learn as much from the people I teach as I may teach them. And it doesn't really matter how old you are. You can be an effective teacher as well as a student. So I enjoy the collaborative effort, the intellectual energy that goes into exploring the world and examining it closely and thinking about it and offering opinions on it. Maybe that summarizes why I love education best of all. It's just an opportunity to continue learning, no matter how old any of us is, and to take much pleasure in each other when we accomplish small or great things. For this year, I teach your students English language arts and social studies. one of the wonderful things about both of those areas of study is that they're reading based. And there's not much more that I like to do. Well, I should say there's not much I like to do more than read. And I recognize, after working with students for so long and working for teachers and with teachers, that not everyone has a passion for reading. And when you do love the written word, it makes life at school easier, more enjoyable, gives you confidence. And so really, I hope this year that by sharing a variety of fiction and nonfiction material, and of course, working on developing critical skills, that I'll be able to help your students appreciate communication the same way, appreciate learning the same way, and see that they are readers. They are skilled readers. They can be confident readers and confident learners. And once they recognize that skill in themselves, there's nothing that's out of bounds for them. So that's perhaps my greatest hope, that by the end of the year, if some of my students don't already have this understanding that the world is limitless for them, perhaps it will belong to them by the end of this year. So I hope so. We are continuing to work, as you know, virtually. I don't think it's ideal when you're working with people. People are such social animals, and we need each other. We depend on each other, and we inspire each other. And that's a lot easier to do when you're face to face. But we'll be back. We'll be back together again when it's right and when it's safe and when people can feel secure in knowing that they've come to a place where they can learn worry-free. Until then, I really want to say thank you to all of you, parents and students, as I have very hurriedly learned how to use Google Classroom and some of the other tools that we really depend upon during this virtual learning experience. With a little luck, I may have mastered all of them by the time we don't need them anymore. But meanwhile, thank you to all of you who've been helping me test things, make sure things work, make sure that assignments appear the way they should, make sure things are on the calendar the way they should be. Thank you to all of you. And please know that, like you, I am so looking forward to being back in touch again. I want you to know that this year is very important to me because it has given me an opportunity I didn't expect to have. At the same time, I know that this is an important year for you and your children. And if you ever have something you want to talk about, you are welcome to write to me. You can also call me, and I will be glad to share whatever information you need in order to stay in touch with me on behalf of your student. Some of you have already written to me, and we've had some fun email exchanges. And we've come up with small plans to help students get on track and stay on track. And I think it's working really well. But I want to encourage all of you to do the same should you ever have a moment of concern. So give me a holler and I will respond. I don't think I've neared, I'm very close. I'm very close to my 10 minutes. I have to say, I'm pretty proud of myself for doing this in a timely way. If I haven't answered a question that you have, please save it and ask me another time and I'll be happy to answer it. Until then, take really good care of yourselves and thank you again for this opportunity to be in your lives.
Hello, Paragon parents returning and new. My name is Joey Silva and I'm the Director of Student Development here at Paragon. This is my 6th year here at Paragon, and it looks like it's going to be the most challenging of them all from what the world is telling us, but we're happy that you guys have come here and returned. I got my degree from the University of Texas at Dallas in psychology, and I have my master's degree from the University of Texas Austin in educational psychology. Basically, what I do here at Paragon is monitor and track your students' academic, social, and emotional progression the time they're here at Paragon, intervening whenever necessary. I also run the Valor Program here at Paragon, which is our support program. What that program is a support program if your student needs some kind of motivational help, some tutoring help, or they have some kind of learning difference. I also coordinate with outside agencies to make sure that your student is fully supported, and coordinate with the teachers to make sure they receive these goals and help support these goals from professionals. Throughout this school year, I work in groups through the Zoom classes with my Valor kids, and I also get on one-on-one with them, during their PE class sometimes, or during study hall. I attend our staff meetings with the rest of the teachers and make sure they're passing on information from me to, if there's anything that I might be able to help with students that they might see struggling. In that case, I can reach out to you. And on your end, you can always reach out to me on the other side. And if your student is struggling at home, or you had some kind of family event such as a pet dying, grandma and grandpa dying, something like that, I can help to make sure the teachers know and can support this kid, or I can, talk to them as well, make sure we can refer them to someone that they need to talk to. But basically, I'm your one-stop shop if your kid needs support. When we get back to seeing each other, hopefully, which is sooner than later, I will be in and out of classes, in and out of study halls, to make sure I kind of have my ear to the ground and see what's going on as far as, students and need as I see within the classroom. So basically, the Valor Program, for the older kids, it meets in smaller groups. With the younger kids, I kind of check in, but usually with the younger kids, I kind of leave it to the specialists they may be working with and kind of check in with them and make sure that we're aligned on those goals. So again, if you have questions about this, I know it's a lot of information and you might have some, please come to me directly, as every case seems to be different. Rarely do we see a case where one solution is going to work for every single kid. So we're going to make sure that I have a learning plan and a goal plan that's designed unique for your student, and then making sure that their needs and your needs are being met. Other than that, I do have a show that I make with Mr. Hathaway each day while we're virtual. I don't know if you've seen it or not. It's on the Paragon Valor YouTube channel. And we basically put out a show each day at noon where me and him talk, kind of like how we do if we were in quote-unquote regular school. In regular school, I kind of walk around the lunchrooms and during the kids' breaks and whatnot and just kind of talk to them and make sure they're having, a good day and check in on with them. So that's what we kind of have the show for, to kind of have them a place to come and talk to us and see me and Mr. Hathaway each day, as we're not a regular teacher that they would see otherwise each day while we're doing this virtually. So we do have that show on our YouTube channel. Check that out. I thank you all for your time. And again, I look forward to meeting you and maybe talking to you here at the panel at the end of this presentation.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Rama Srikantham. I'm also known as Mrs. S to your kiddos, and I am so very excited to be your child's science teacher this year. Here's a little bit of information about me. My background is in molecular biology and biotechnology. I earned a Bachelor of Science degree in cell and molecular bio from the University of California and a master's degree in biotech from Penn State. After that, I worked for 10 years as a DNA analyst for the Department of Public Safety here in Austin, and then switched gears to the teaching profession. It really didn't take long for me to fall completely in love with teaching and realize that this is very much my calling. Finding hands-on ways to make science understandable and enjoyable for students is so completely fulfilling and also so very fun. I always say that when I teach, I'm conveying information, but I'm also sharing my passion and enthusiasm for the field of science. That's why I strive to create as many authentic experiences as possible in my classes by incorporating several different science methods, as well as math and technology skills, and even communication. It turns out this is going to be my 9th year teaching, and it's been a wonderful journey so far. At this point, I've been a science specialist for grades pre-K all the way to 5th grade, and it's given me a lot of perspective on how students develop their scientific thinking. In addition to teaching, I've also led and encouraged my fellow science teachers in best practices in science education, and in the past couple of years, I've also had the pleasure of serving as a mentor to college students at UT. The science classes at Paragon for grades 3 through 5 are what we call composite classes. This means that in a given year, they will cover several different disciplines within science, such as chemistry, earth and space science, physics, and biology, my personal favorite. Everything I teach is based on a set of national science teaching standards called the Next Generation Science Standards, or NGSS for short. These guidelines were developed around 2013 and for teaching science, and they were established through a collaboration between administrators, practicing scientists, and science teachers too. So it was a big project to put these together. According to those standards, there seems to be an emphasis on different disciplines each year for grades 3 through 5. For example, the emphasis in 3rd grade is very clearly earth and space science, whereas in 4th grade, there's quite a bit more physics. And in 5th grade, there's more biology emphasis. I truly believe that all science disciplines are interconnected, though, so whenever I teach a new concept, I encourage students to find connections between old concepts and new concepts that we're learning. Our classes so far this year have been going really very well. And that's an accomplishment. This year is bringing forth its own unique challenges, but I believe that one of the most valuable things we can teach our children is to be persistent when faced with challenging situations. Your kiddos are impressive people who are learning a lot of tech very quickly, and are adapting and making their learning the best that it can be. All very, very impressive stuff to be completely proud of. Likewise, I'm also working hard to ensure that science can still be an engaging, rich learning experience. Our units of study are going to be about 2 to 3 weeks long in general, and the activities in each unit will be a mixture of labs, yay, activities which are short, research projects which will take some more time, and quizzes. My plan for online learning is to absolutely see your kiddos every day and touch base with them. Employ excellent learning resources for their learning, such as San Francisco's Exploratorium, and also to create many hands-on projects as possible to be done at home. Group work, collaborations, research projects, and Google Apps can also be taught online. I have never, ever been so thankful for the technology that we have today. Google Classroom, as you know by now, will be our main hub for communication. Even when we're back at school, I'll still be posting assignments and collecting them through Google Classroom. So please make sure you and your child get in the habit of checking it every day for assignments, materials that will help their learning, and optional activities. I did mention quizzes, and I wanted to tell you a little bit more about them for my class. I'll be giving short multiple choice assessments throughout the year. For the most part, they'll be multiple choice. Hopefully they won't be too stressful. That's not my goal with the quizzes. It's important that your kiddos use the given study guides to study, because those will have all of the factual content that is necessary to know for the quizzes. The questions themselves on the assessments will be a mix of straightforward, factual content, and those that ask for a bit more critical thinking, a little bit more of putting 2 and 2 together to figure something out. The quizzes will take place after each unit of study, and they'll allow me to keep better tabs on student learning, and also let me see whether I'm really reaching them with my teaching methods, whether what I'm doing is working in this online scenario. Another important information to know about me is that my classes don't tend to be homework heavy. Instead, I really do expect students to work hard and use their time efficiently in class. Therefore, any homework that they have will be more of the unfinished business variety, like stuff they didn't get to finish in class and they'll need to just finish up at home. Or they could even be readings which will enhance their understanding of concepts from class. Okay, but enough about the classes for now. And on to family, which is so incredibly important. I have 2 kids of my own who are learning online right now, so I completely know firsthand the hard work that it's taking to manage your own schedules, your household, your kids' Zoom schedules, and their assignments. That's a lot to keep track of. I want you to know that I'm here for you. Just reach out to me by email with any questions or concerns, and I'll get back to you within 24 hours. I am convinced that distance learning is going to actually bring us closer together more than ever before. I look forward to meeting you all in person when it's absolutely safe to get back on campus. But, you know, whether we are in person or online, I am really so very excited to be teaching your kiddos. There is going to be so much fun and learning this year, and I'm excited to get started.
Hi, I'm Emily Bolts, and I teach art to kindergarten through 8th grade, and I'm the Social and Emotional Learning Director for Paragon. I love making art personally. I'm also a musician, and of course, I love spending time with my family, my sweet husband, and my sweet little 5-month-old baby Magnolia. I also love spending time outside. We just recently moved to Bastrop, and I'm loving it. We're really close to the river and some great parks to spend time outside. And my husband and I also love gardening. So that's a lot of how I spend my time when I'm not at school. When I am at school with your students making art, there is so much that goes on, and there's so many reasons why I love it. So first, I think that creativity is just one of the most fundamental parts of being human. Some students come to my class and they say to me, you know, I'm not creative, but I don't believe that. To me, what creativity really means is not taking something out of thin air or making up something out of nothing. Instead, creativity is taking what you already know and the resources that you have available and rearranging them in some sort of new or interesting way. So this year, sure, we're gonna practice being creative. We're gonna take what we know and use those creative problem-solving skills to make arts. Also, many students come to my class and they say, you know, I'm not an artist. Well, being a good artist, being skilled at drawing or painting or sculpture or design are skills that anyone can learn at any point in life if you're taught the right steps and, of course, you practice. So I love teaching students those skills to help them gain confidence as artists. We each have our own unique perspective, depending on your own personal experience. Whatever you've gone through in life creates the lens that you see the world through. And I want to help students gain confidence and also feel free to express those ideas and perspectives. So that's something that I love to do over time, is help them become more comfortable creating in their own unique style and also learning some foundational skills along the way. I also love teaching art because I really believe that no matter what my students decide to pursue later on in life, these are going to be useful skills. No matter what career path you choose, it's important to be able to communicate your ideas in a cohesive and coherent way, visually, and explain where those ideas come from and what those deeper meanings are to you. We can also learn empathy through art. By looking at other artists' work and seeing their perspective, seeing through their eyes, we can start to learn about the different struggles and strife that many different people and cultures have gone through over time. I love art because it shapes history. Artists have the unique role of documenting through music, through painting, through dance, through literature, what the human experience is at this specific time in history. Also, artists have the role of imagining and creating what a better world would look like. And even though those seem like really big and deep ideas, these are things that I want our students to start playing around with now. Art's important because it keeps our imaginations alive and it's innately mindful. Art brings us into the present moment. Just by the act of creating, we're able to connect our mind and our body and really be present. Through our social and emotional learning curriculum, I've created tons of tiny little mini lessons that I've made available to all of our teachers at Paragon so they can incorporate those and use those lessons when it's important to them. Those lessons are mostly based on mindfulness. Mindfulness is about being in the present moment, gaining self-awareness and the awareness of what's going on with other people around you, and finally, experiencing all of that without judgment. And really, it's about learning skills to ride the waves of emotions that we all surf in life. My hope is that through art this year, some of those social and emotional lessons are interwoven into the work that we do. We have a lot of projects and opportunities this year for self-reflection. One of those opportunities that you're going to see at home a lot is through the art journal. Each week, students are choosing a prompt from a list of about 50-something prompts. And what they may or may not have realized by now is that honestly, all of these prompts come from art therapy. These are all opportunities for them to do some personal exploration and have an opportunity in their art journals to process and express freely. So every Friday, students will be turning in one of those art journal entries based on that prompt. And I've already seen some really powerful work. Also, I hope that that art journal can be an opportunity to step away from the screen and just give them a chance to look at paper, use whatever materials that they might have around the house, and dive into their own self-awareness and create from that. Throughout the year, we are going to be learning about different artists, their unique perspectives, and these are going to be artists and artworks that we'll look at from all over the world. We'll analyze those works of art and then use that as a jumping point for something that we'll create at home. This year, while we're doing remote learning, our projects are going to stay really open-ended. It's going to be a prompt, an idea, something that students can really do some deep and critical thinking about, but then use any materials, any art mediums that they have at home available to them to create with. So there's no limit depending on what materials or resources that they have at home. I definitely want to help students grow their fundamental skills as artists in the foundations of drawing and painting and sculpture. I want students to be able to look at art, analyze it, talk about it, and have a vocabulary for that discussion. Now, remote learning does create some unique challenges, but also some unique opportunities. Now, I know that when we go to art, one of the most exciting things is to see that studio and all of the cool materials and supplies that you'll get to use that you might not have at home. But we also have a unique opportunity to use what we have at home, to really get familiar and become more resourceful. I'm going to be honest, I am taking inspiration from Bob Ross and Fred Rogers, and I figure if they can do this virtually, well, so can I. At least I promise that I'll do my very best. I can't wait till we get to go back to the classroom and I get to see all these little humans in real life. But I also know that it's important that we return when it's safe for all of us. Until then, I can't wait to see the work that's developing. by looking at the photos that you or your students upload to Google Classroom. We'll be able to share in our creative process together. Now, if you ever have any questions, I'm always available. The best way to reach me is through email, emily@paragonprep.com. Thank you so much for being here with us this evening. I can't wait to work more with your students, to learn more about them, to learn more about their unique styles, and to create together.
Hi everyone, I'm Coach Jackie and I am the Director of Physical Education here at Paragon for kinder through 8th grade. This is my 6th year teaching at Paragon, and I also get to coach team sports at Paragon. I get to coach volleyball, basketball, and track and field. On occasion I'll help out with some soccer, but yeah, so I really love being a PE teacher because I get to help kids move and have fun while doing it. I think it's a really rewarding job just seeing kids run around, move their bodies, learn how to control themselves, and also just have fun, have a smile on their faces. Yeah, so some of the goals with the activities that we do is to develop each student's motor skills, hand-eye coordination, strength, flexibility, and spatial awareness. So in kinder through 5th grades, we'll go through several units that include throwing and catching, kicking, striking, and jump roping. And we have a few others that we do as well. But right now we're currently in our throwing and catching unit to help our kids work on their hand-eye coordination. And it's been really fun, really interesting seeing the kids do it virtually. I know that there are just minor things that I am missing out on, but it seems like everyone's having a good time so far. Yeah, so Coach Jacob and I are continuously working to come up with activities that we can do to make PE fun and also keep our students safe. That is one of the biggest things that we're always concerned about, is our students' safety, making sure they're moving their bodies in a safe way while also having fun. Yeah, and honestly, we are very excited to get back to teaching in person. And when we get back to campus, we hope to be able to do skate week again. That is the goal. And honestly, just be able to work with a lot of our equipment again that we haven't had an opportunity to use. And hopefully the kids get to learn a variety of activities that they can participate in. Yeah, so if you do need to get in touch with me, you can reach me through email if you have any questions, concerns, or are looking for different ways to have your kid move or anything. Just feel free to reach out to me via email. Thank you.
And now, from the comfort of his own home in Austin, Texas, it's music time with Mr.
Hello, Paragon parents. I'm Gabe Rothschild, or as the students know me, Mr. Gabe, and I am teaching music and providing music activities for pre-K through 5th grade this year. If your student is in pre-K through 1st grade, I provide videos and activities that I upload to Google Classroom every week. And also, you can browse around on my channel and check out Music Time with Mr. Gabe on YouTube, where I'm putting up activities, and there's also some old stuff. So lots of stuff to do and lots more coming. And if your student is in 2nd through 5th grade, I'll be meeting with them once a week on Zoom. So some of you I've probably met, and some of you it's the first time. If so, nice to meet you. Just to start out, a little bit about me. I have been working for Paragon since last school year. That was my first year, and we had a pretty successful first half of the year. We had a great talent show and seasonal winter show, and then we also did some great stuff, or at best as we were learning, on Zoom, and we're kind of continuing off of what we've learned from the end of last year for the beginning of this year. I studied film in college, and afterwards I went to Japan, where I taught English for a few years, and I got to work with a company starting an English Through Fun program, and I got to help them open up various schools and go around and train their staff and come up with new curriculum that involved music, art, activities, videos, all sorts of fun ways to learn English. Well, I met my wife in Japan. We came back to Texas, which is where I'm from. For a number of years, we ran a food truck, and after that, I really wanted to go back into education. So before I was working for Paragon, I worked for a few years as a Montessori teacher in the lower elementary classroom, teaching all subjects. And I really wanted to get back into just teaching music. So the past 2 years, I've started just focusing on music. Besides Paragon, I teach around town at other schools, or I was, and I'm still doing it with various students through online platforms. So as I mentioned, I do play in a band around town or online around town right now called The Other Brothers. It's for kids, but I've also played for years in bands that are not for kids, and I've done a lot of sketch comedy, a lot of theater, any sort of performance, and I really enjoy writing. So let me talk a little bit about my approach to teaching music, especially with us online. I really want to make music fun. I always want to make it something accessible to children, and even if playing an instrument isn't your thing, I want you to be able to find your spot. Do you maybe want to write the words? Do you maybe have a good idea for a dance, a good idea for a rhythm or a melody? Maybe you don't want to sing, but you want to learn how to write a song. So speaking of which, writing a song is one of my biggest focuses. I really think it's important, no matter any age, to give children the ability and empower them to feel like they are taking part in something they like. I know I've heard all sorts of kids always making up little songs, making up little chants, and so I know that that's something that is a really good avenue to get kids into music. So let me talk a little bit about what I planned for this school year. If you have a younger child, pre-K through first, I'll be putting up videos. Sometimes they're just great songs to sing along. Sometimes there may be 10 or 15 minute sort of sing along, sit down activities that might have to do with hand play. They might have to do with learning about different instruments or rhythm. These can be watched whenever you really feel like it, and maybe they want to watch it again. And they're good for little siblings, and maybe even the older siblings who play instruments want to sit and join and help the younger sibling sing along or do the call and response or do the dance moves. If you have an older child, 2nd through 5th, that I'll be meeting with once a week, I'll be using the same video sometimes to say, hey, look at this video. Let's talk about the elements of the song. Let's talk about what is the rhythm for that song, what is the genre, and so on and so on. And that's kind of where we started this year, is we're breaking down the songs again and just making sure we're all on the same page using the same language. So what are the elements of music? And what are the elements of a song? And so how can we write our own song? And we've already started kicking ideas around. So for the younger children, I'm going to try to get a ukulele into everybody's hands for the 2nd and 3rd graders. And for the 4th and 5th graders, I took a survey of who has what instruments at home and who has experience with those instruments, playing them, and who has experience with production things. Like some children I know are already used to using GarageBand or Final Cut or an app on their phone. So I want to work with them. My idea is that we're going to be able to record some things at home no matter what grade you're in. Maybe for the younger children, it's a cover. Maybe for the older children, it's something we're going to write together. Maybe for the older children, it's a bigger piece and they each play a small piece and I edited it all together. And for some of the other kids, maybe we're all going to play to me and then I'm going to edit together in a video for a finale. Last year, we had 2 talent shows, one that was in person and one that was virtual. And this year, I'm trying to ask kids to, we're going to do 5th grade first. It's going to be all 5th graders and then 4th graders. So we're going to have more regular talent shows, and you can probably check those out on the Paragon Facebook or YouTube page, and we'll be telling you when those are going to premiere. So if your child is in 2nd through 5th grade, let me walk you through basically what a Zoom class with me is like. Whenever the students come into the room, if I open it a few minutes early or for the first few minutes, I'll probably be playing a video of an artist that I want to feature that's kid-friendly but could also serve to teach what we're talking about this week. But I'll just let them enjoy the video and let them enjoy the music for what it is, and then afterwards we're going to be talking about it. So for example, recently I featured this song, it's Noodles and Butter by Casper Baby Pants. Cool video, cool song, kids of all ages like it, and we talk about, well, what are we hearing, you know? Okay, so after everyone's in the room and we chatted for a brief amount about the first song that I might have been showcasing and the artist, I will show something called Radio Taiso. I'll encourage the kids to get up with me and do a little movement. I know they have PE, sometimes they roll their eyes, but some kids have been getting into it, and I've been encouraging them, when you come to music class, have a little bit of space, because we're going to do Radio Taiso, and one of the reasons is maybe for some of the other activities, we're going to stand up, we're going to do dance moves, we're going to want to be able to be physical. So we want to be able to include our body and rhythm in music class, and that's why I started with Radio Taiso. It's a common daily exercise in Japan, and there's hundreds of videos. So we're starting with these basic ones so the kids can kind of learn it, and then we're going to move to really silly ones where, you know, Pokemon and stuff like that are doing it, and the kids are always excited to see that and think it's really funny. So after the warm-up, we usually go back to the song we were first listening to, or something that we're familiar with that we listened to last week, or a song I play all the time, like Shmurtle the Turtle by my band, the Other Brothers. And we might learn something new building on top of what we learned last week. So like this past week, what we were working on was, what is a verse? What is a chorus? What is a bridge? And then I might make an extension assignment for the next week. I want them to send me something like, what is a song with a bridge? You know, we'll talk about it a bit in class. I had some really funny responses, some that definitely weren't bridges, but someone brought up a song, A Dust in the Bottle, a 90s country song, definitely my bread and butter. And I was like, yeah, that's great. That totally has a bridge. We played it, we listened to it. So this past week, for a lot of the kids, it was find a bridge, send me the bridge. And this is all building up towards me saying, okay, let's write our own songs. After that, we usually play a game that has to do with a live instrument I have, and we kind of go around the Zoom room, and I take suggestions, and I make it into songs to sort of embody and example what we just learned about. And then to end class, I'll usually play a musical game or some sort of rhyming game, just to keep kids really active and excited about making music, making poems, writing. And sometimes I'll have a show and tell. So I've been telling kids, okay, if you have an instrument, you can bring it, and I'll let you show a little bit of what's been going on. So some kids have been showing their pianos, their recorders, their ukuleles. Okay, so how can you help your child succeed in music class or with music at home, especially while we're online? You know, a lot of kids answered the survey. They said, I have this instrument, I have that instrument. But some kids say, I think I have this instrument, or I need this guitar to be strung up, or I need this keyboard dragged out of the closet. So first and foremost, making all the instruments available that you have at your house. Maybe it's a good time to string up that old guitar. Maybe it's a good time to strike up the family band. That's the second part I want to say is, you know, it's a great time to enjoy music. We only meet once a week for music, but I tell kids, you know, it's always a great time to listen to music, to play music, and I'm always interested to see what you're doing outside of music class. So my email is open. If you ever want to record something, even if there's not a talent show, just send me what you've been up to, and you want to help your kid do that, a little dance routine, a song they wrote, or a song they're trying to learn how to play on guitar. I'd love to see it. And that being said, you're always welcome to get in touch with me on my email. And if you want to talk at all about how music class is going, how music outside of class is going for your child, I'm very open. I teach private guitar and ukulele lessons around town as well, on Zoom and in people's front yards lately. So I'm very interested in how your child is using music to get through and be creative while we're sort of in this quarantine situation. I know there's a lot of musical families and musical children at Paragon, and I'm really excited for this year to build on what we started last year and try to get some great video stuff from home and keep the kids creative, keep the kids excited, and keep the kids singing and dancing. So with that, I'll say goodbye, and I will talk to you soon.
Hey everybody, it's Mark Hathaway here. I am the other owner of the school and business manager for Paragon Prep. So typically, if you get an email from the business office, that's me. So it's typically sending invoices for whatever it might be, whether it's tuition installments, or it might be, you know, as we get back, if we get back into aftercare or Fast Food Fridays and things like that, those will come from me. And so if you ever have any questions about anything, just let me know, and I can help you out with that or get your receipts. And the best way to do it is to email me at mark@paragonprep.com. I can't believe it, but this is our 24th year here. I fight with the title of Director of Fun with Miss Hay, but hey, if we have more people trying to direct fun, then that's good for us. I think as we get back to campus, that'll be our number one thing, is to make sure that we, you know, we'll be learning in the classroom, but we'll also be having as much fun as we can together in a safe way at school. That's one of the things I love about our school. You know, from the first year where we had 46 kids to now, I mean, we've gone through, you know, we've been at different campuses and we've moved here, and I really like that our personality as a school is the same as it was that first year. Kind of quirky, kind of fun, but getting lots of stuff done. So anyways, looking forward to an interesting year, and so can't wait to meet all of you in person someday. So anyways, here's to a good 2021.
I am starting my 10th year at Paragon, and most of those years I have been a parent as well as an administrator here. And one thing that always surprises me every year is how much dedication and expertise and patience and skill our staff has. This summer has been unlike any other. Our teachers have worked tirelessly this summer, barely taking a break, to try to prepare for our virtual online start. So usually at this time in the parent night meeting, I will tell you about our teacher appreciation meals. We don't appreciate our teachers just 1 week in the spring. We actually come up with a plan to appreciate them every week. And so I'm going to take off my administrator hat and put on my parent hat and say, I know these teachers deserve every bit of anything we can give them after everything that they've done to prepare this fall and everything that they're doing right now to prepare for a hybrid program as well as a return to campus. I get to see our staff meetings and their professional development and just the level of professionalism and dedication that our teachers have is matched by no other. It is impressive, and I am so proud to have my children here learning with these fine educators. You will be receiving an email from me in the next few days explaining our Teacher Appreciation Meal program. You can do anything to help appreciate the teachers. You could drop off donuts or cookies. Since we are virtual, it might be better to just donate to our Teacher Appreciation Fund. And Mrs. Jones finds all of our favorite things and sends them to our house, which is amazing if you're working hard all week. And then on Friday, a bag of Tiff's treats arrives. It is absolutely mind-blowing how that can change the trajectory of a weekend. So we appreciate you parents. I, as an administrator, appreciate when you guys take care of our teachers and let them know how much we appreciate their dedication and their time that they have spent on our children and giving them the best education that they can. And with that, it brings us to the end of our program tonight. If you have any questions, anything that's been left that we haven't addressed, please stick around for the webinar and you can ask any of our teachers. You can also feel free to contact any of us. All of our information is available on our website at paragonprep.com. And have a great evening.